Hi, I'm Mila Saunders and I'm the set and costume designer for Jabala and the Jinn. That means that I'm responsible for all of the objects you see on stage. So that's the scenery, the props, which are the smaller items, and the costumes, which is everything that the characters or actors wear on stage.
The world of the play, it's set in my hometown of Bradford, where I grew up, and a lot of the scenes happen within Jabala's house, and that's where she first meets the Jinn. We also go to the playground, where she has a lot of interactions with the character Munir, who she makes friends with. So those are the two main locations.
When I started designing the show, the director, Roz, asked that the set have lots of room for the characters to run around, like kids in a playground, so that it was energetic and that, if possible, there'd be some levels. To start my design, I started to look for images to do with the spaces that the story takes place in. I looked at houses in and around Bradford where the play is set. I also looked at school playgrounds and other playgrounds generally, and the structures that you find in them, like climbing frames and bike sheds. I also got really excited by this image of a floor in the playground. I liked the bright, energetic colours and the wavy lines on it. I thought it also looked a bit like a rug, so it could sort of work as an interior space as well. All of these images that I found got pulled into mood boards so that I could see it all together, but also so I could share my ideas with the rest of the team. Next, I started to sketch and doodle some of the ideas about how this might work as a set. So for the design, I've combined the shape of a house with the idea of playground structures like climbing frames, and then I've sort of done what's called exploding it out. So I sort of drew a house to start with and then chopped it in two and pulled it across the stage. And that's giving us kind of two little islands, like we spoke about, to give lots of possibilities for action. So Jabala and her friends can run around in between all these spaces, but also characters like the Jinn can pop up from behind them as well. Hopefully these spaces are also going to be able to be climbed on, and there'll also be parts of the walls that you can walk through, and there's a doorway without a door in it that characters can appear in, and there's also a window frame, so again people can be either side of a window looking in or looking out. Our production is taking place at the Belgrade Theatre in Coventry in their B2 space. So I needed to make a scale model of that space. This is then used to work out how our design fits in the space. It also makes you think about the audience and how they will see the set. Will there be any places they can't see or seats that won't have good views? So here you can see how the model developed. There's first of all the scale model of the venue, then a floor goes in, then a very crude paper model, which is just playing around with initial shapes. And then that progresses to what's called a quick sketch model, which is when I really came up with the actual design and showed it to other members of the team, and we added bits and changed bits. And then that became what's called a white card design, which has got very specific measurements and lots of technical information on it, but not much colour. And then finally I added colour and lots more details, like all of the set dressing. And in the final model you can see where there's spaces on and off stage, and there's also room to move around the space, and you can see how the whole floor and the set itself sits as an island. We knew that as the space is quite large and our show's actually only 3 people on stage, that we needed to create an island so that our stage space would float and kind of be a real focus point for all of this energy. And one of the important things for that is the floor. So I created this, which is a sort of big splodge, but it's also a really, really bright pattern that means that our set will sit on it and really, really contrast out of the floor of the venue. It's you can probably see it's inspired by that early image that I found of the playground floor with the bright wavy lines. And the idea is that with all of these kind of splodgy colours, that there's a lot of energy. So if our characters want to run rings around the set, they can almost follow the lines of this pattern like you would on playground markings. So it's kind of lots of circular patterns like that. And it also gives us the slight sense of it could almost be a rug, and it could be sort of the inside of a playground or a library, sort of indoor school space. Once the final model's finished, it gets sent along with technical construction drawings to the workshops at the Belgrade, where the amazing team have been working on how to build and paint it. And then it will be installed on the stage in the theatre, where the cast will spend a few days rehearsing on it, and we'll add in lighting and sound, and then it'll be ready to be performed. We'll also be adding in finishing touches such as set dressing, like the little photos, the plant, and any other details that will come out of rehearsals. I can't wait for you to see it all finished.